Hi, and welcome back to Plastic Models by a Regular Dude and part 4 of Plastic Models for Beginners, Tamiya 1/35th scale M3A1 Scout Car. So on the last video, we picked up on step 11 and went all the way through step 17. So now we're ready to start working on step 18, which is starting to put some of the details on the body of the vehicle, starting with the inside, the machine gun rail. So here's where it sits. So let's go ahead and get cracking and cut off some of these parts. So the first thing I need is two B1s and B11. B1s and B11. Now, I'm going to say again, I say this that I'll be saying this at the beginning of all my videos right now on this series, is I will cut off and clean the first few parts to demonstrate how I do it. But if you've been following along, you already know how I do it. But I'm doing this for people who might come in later. So I'm just going to do the first few parts, cutting them off, showing how I clean them up and all that kind of stuff. And I will only come back to that if it warrants additional comments. So starting with these parts here, we'll cut these off like that. And I have to say that so far on this kit, everything is fit together really, really well. So if you are a beginner and you've decided to do this kit as your first kit, I'm going to say that's a good idea. Good thinking, because this really is a good kit. It fits together really well, modern engineering, decent detail without having too many tiny parts and stuff. So I think if you're doing this, you'll really like it. So in looking at this, it looks like the orientation is there's little buckles on these straps here. Those face up. So that's where I want to focus my cleaning, because you won't see underneath here. I'll just make sure it's trimmed up and looks decent, but I won't worry about the mold seam. I'll just do that on the top. So first, I'm going to like that, and using the side of my blade. And again, I know I've gone over this before, but if you're just joining me in using a blade to scrape mold seam lines like this, always make sure you have it tilted slightly in the direction that you're dragging the blade, because if you don't, you can end up cutting chunks in it. Okay, so that's ready to go. Then we need to clean this off. Another thing I'll mention, and I mention every time that I talk about cleaning stuff up, is the importance of really good cutters. You can save yourself a lot of headache by having a really nice sprue, plastic, whatever you want to call it, cutter. It makes it, you can cut it really super close to the part, which minimizes the amount of work you're going to have to do to smooth it out. So it's just going to be minimal work to clean that up. And don't forget to cut these little bits off here. And you want to make sure these are pretty flat, because that's what's going to attach to the track. So there's actually quite a few little pieces to clean up here. All right, so that looks really good. Now there's a slight, very faint mold line. So I'm just barely going to scrape this part here. Not that you're even going to see it. You could also sand it, but as I've said plenty of times, I really like using the edge of a blade. Less chance of rounding things off or getting things out of square if that's important for the part in question. So, you know, because you can keep it real flat, and you can even sometimes correct molding errors if a part is not quite square because of the molding process. This will make it nice and flat so you can, you know, potentially, especially on older kids, get the part to fit better. So that's all the parts cut. So now all we have to do is glue them in place. All right, so let's see. So let's get this oriented right. That fits like that. Okay, and then these brackets right here, these little feet fit right there like that. So that's really cool. Fits good. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use a little bit of this to kind of put in there to tack it into place, and then I'll put some more just to make sure I get a good solid one. I want to make sure that they are square like that. Test fit this one, that fits good, and then like that. Like that. Making sure that it's square again. Okay, and then I'm going to use a little bit to make sure it really sticks together well. And then I'm going to set that aside and let it dry really good. So whenever I go to install it, I don't have to worry about, you know, tweaking anything. Tweaking is a technical term for, you know, screwing things up. So I'll put that right there. So next I need these to make some machine gun mounts, and I am supposed to make 3. So I need part A6, 7, 8, and 12. So let's get these. So we need here's 2 8s here, and then cut off one. I'll go ahead and cut both these 7s off of here, and then 6. We need 2 off this sprue and 1 off the other sprue, like that. And then these 2 12s. Here's something else that's nice about good sharp cutters. You can cut little tiny parts like that, and they won't go flying off into oblivion, only to be gobbled up by a dreaded carpet monster or whatever kind of creatures you got in your house. So I'm going to clean all these parts up. Okay, so I'm going to attempt to demonstrate how this goes together, which is going to be tough because these parts are really small. So what you do is you take this part here and you glue it together.
Where'd you go, baby?
Now the instructions show doing A6, A8, and A7 kind of like you do them together, but I find it's easier to do this part first and then do the handle slash lever part. So I'm going to do that. Hold together for a second. And then make sure it's lined up. Okay, I'm going to let that sit for short bit to make sure it doesn't slide around when I start trying to install that. Okay, so then with the round part facing up, this part here, the curve faces down. So what I found works easiest for me was to install like this. Whoops. Just kind of push it in from the side like that there. Same on this side. Well, kind of. This is, I had a really, the very first one I did that I didn't do on camera went together just like super, there we go, super easy. This one, or the one I did prior, and this one, not so much, but there we go. So it's supposed to be kind of angled down a bit like that. And then put a little bit of cement there. And oops, and just a little bit of cement there. Then there's a small pin right there, and this little wheel or whatever it is. So make sure it's oriented right, and then just take a little bit of cement, fill that hole right there, and put it in place like that, and then just kind of press it down and make sure that it's seated properly, flat. Now I'm going to put a little bit more cement just to make sure it sticks good, like that. Okay, so now that that is done, I can start working on the tracks around the inside of the vehicle. So first I'll put this part that I assembled earlier in the back. All right, so all these little protrusions here fit in between those little, looks like clamps or something. So yesterday, or last time I was messing with, yeah, there we go, fits in there just like that. Fits really easily, actually. So holding it in place, I'm going to put some cement here and here and there, there and there, and then just kind of press it into place and hold it for a second. Then there, there, and there. So it all fits in there really good. So I'll kind of hold it in place, make sure it's anchored on there really good. So let's see, I need to cut off B12 and B13 and B10. So there's 10. $13 goes on this side. $12 goes on that side. Okay, so then once that's all cleaned up, I need to take these machine gun mounts and slide them on thusly. Now the way you can tell if this part here is right side up or not, there's a couple of little protrusions here and here. They're supposed to face up according to, oh, no, so I'm sorry, it's supposed to be face down. So I gotta take this off of here, put it back on like that. Okay, so there we go. All right, so there's that. And then I need to take one and put it on this one. Whoa! Possibly. Now this one seems to be a really tight fit, so if you run into the same thing, be careful so you don't break anything. Oh yeah, it's a real snug fit, wow. There we go. Once you get past this little projection there. But I like the fact that they are kind of snug on there. That makes it kind of nice. Where they're not all floppy and potentially falling off. Whoa! Like that, and like that. Okay, so there. So that's that. So that's the way it goes. So then, these need to be glued on the sides. Let me start on this side because it'll probably be a little easier to see. There's those round holes there. 1, 2, 3. Round pins there. So that butts up against that. That goes there and there and like that. Wow, fits together pretty well. Okay, so I'm going to put some cement back here on that one first, and that one. Make sure that's lined up. Then I'm going to put some cement there, squeeze it together with my tweezers. Okay, and then I'll put some cement there and there. There. Like that. Now I need to put some more right here. And squeeze that together. Like that. Actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use my spring-loaded tweezers, whoa, as a clamp. Hold together and let that sit for a few minutes. Alright, so there's that. So I'm going to glue this one on over here and off camera since it's the same exact thing, and then we'll come back and do this part here. Alright, so next, the last part for the track is this here, and it goes like this. So fits there. Hope this isn't one of those cases where it would have been better to put it together before I put the sides on. Nah, it'll be alright. Matter of fact, boom, snaps right into place like that. So, that side's in. And that side's in. There we go. Just like that. Fits like a champ. So it glues along the front and then on each side. Now these fit really snug, so I don't have to clamp these over here like I did with the other ones. A little cement there. A little cement there. I'll put a little bit more on this side. And then there. And there. So there we go. That is all glued on. So that takes care of step number 18. So 19, we got to do the headlights. Or marker light or whatever it is. And then the door handle. These two latches for the engine cover and the pick. So let's get D1 and D10 first. D1 and D10. Then we also need D24. Like that. And then we need two A27s and an A13. So let's get those.
Yeah, like you could have handed it to Skylar and we could have, set it out for you to pick up. Yeah, that would have been a lot.
A27. So there's A13. That's the door handle. And A27, which is somewhere right there. Two of them. We'll cut those off.
You're not hungry, huh, man?
Alright, so we got all these parts cleaned up, so now I need to install them. So first, let's do the handle, the door handle. Like that. Like that. Then now there's a pin, and then there's like a little groove right there for it to fit in. So there's that, and then do the same thing here.
It's totally been, like, totally her, especially. It's like, it's a little cottage, a little place on that property.
Let's try that again, shall we?
The patio leads to trails.
See, this is part of the problem.
She really wanted, like, so, and it's like,
With
I forget.
using this cement like this, because it evaporates so quickly.
So when is, how long are they gonna be gone? Maybe they're leaving Saturday. I think they're coming home Thursday. Yeah, there's a Friday, Saturday, they wanna like do work up in the house. Well, that's not our crew.
There we go. Now I'm just for security's sake, I'll put a little bit of cement at the bottom there and there, just so it's
Well, and they
cemented in two spots. All right, so then need to do the pick, and that goes in that hole there and there. So, oh, that's kind of nice. So generally, especially on Tamiya tools, they'll just be like a bar across there, and that's supposed to be the clamp. But in this case, there are little tabs here and here, so when you put it in place, it looks like an actual loop type thing that's in position there to hold it in place. So that's kind of cool. You know, it saves you, if you really don't want to have, you know, some really crazy detailed you know, extra parts. But yeah, just like that. So that's cool. I'm stoked. All right, so then I've already put the two parts of the light together. There's like a guard that goes on the light. There's a little pin here and a slot there. So it's just a matter of right there like that. Like that. And make sure it's pushed in and level and straight. Sweet. So there's that. So that actually finishes part 9 or step 19. So now we can flip over to step 20, which is more details on the side, headlights and headlight guards, fuel can, that kind of thing. So we need the clear parts, F3. I'm not going to do until that's going to be the very last thing I do on the kit, because the inside of the headlight bucket needs to be painted silver. So I'm going to cut off A33 and 37 to each of those. Get those ready. So that's A37, A33. Get those cut off. So there's 37. And 33, which is very, very, very tiny. So let's see, where's the other? It is there. So we got those, A33, A37. And then we need, the headlight guards are D22, but I'll wait to cut those off till after I get these headlights glued in place and, you know, firmly in place. All right, so I've already got one on. I failed at getting this one on once because they're very tiny. Okay, so let's get that. All right, so that's good. So let's make sure it is level, lined up properly. And it needs to twist a little bit this way. Okay, so there's that. Then I need to get the headlights on. Dropped it, caught it in my lap, so that is pretty epic. Wow. This is a harrowing ordeal. So let's put some cement on there.
You're making those lollipops. You know, the rainbow like you can get at Disneyland.
I'll hold it like that. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now that little light does not, so I straighten that, and then I'll put some more cement in there to hold it in place. Like that. Like that. Thing is, it's just getting these things lined up correctly without them being all wonky, as they say. Okay, same thing here. Some cement. Right there. Like that. Point it down a little bit. And that looks pretty good. So now I'll cut off, I'm going to cut these other parts off. D22 and 23, A14, 15, 16, all those parts, and then the shovel. So let me cut those off of the sprues. So we need a, let's see, let's do D20 first. And then we need 22, which is the left side. 23, which is the right. Like that. And then we'll get the fuel can parts, which is a, let's see, 14. 15, 16, 1, and 3. All right, so now get those cleaned up. All right, all these parts are cleaned up. So I think the first thing I'll do is glue these in place. Now I really don't know what the difference is and why they're differentiated as D22 and 23 instead of just two D22s or two D23s. I don't know. But they are supposed to go on different sides, so that's what I'm going to do here. Now these should be a little easier to put in place. Oh, look at that. They just sit there. That is stellar. Little dab of cement there. Little dab there, or a big dab even. And then just make sure it's pushed into place real firmly. Then we'll do this one. Same thing. Now I haven't checked, but I really hope I'm not getting my fat noggin and fuzzy skull, which are one and the same, in the shots. I don't think I am, but if I am, I apologize. And I'll try and do better in the future. So we'll make sure that's pushed in there real firmly. All right, so then let's see. I'll go ahead and do the shovel, and that goes here, and you have to put the shovel on first, it looks like, before the fuel can, I think. I don't know, we'll see. But again, here we go. We throw the shovel on the floor, but you just got this plain strap, and generally that's all there is on a Tamiya kit. There are two little flanges there to make it look like a holder that's actually attached to the vehicle. So, you know, and that may not seem like a big deal, but it is a little touch that kind of helps with one of the things that, you know, most people complain about with Tamiya kits, and that's the soft detail that can be apparent, especially on their older kits. So it's kind of cool. I dig it. So let's see. We'll push that into place like that. All right. So the next thing I need to do is assemble this fuel can. So you get two halves like this, and let's see, how am I going to do this? Let me look at something. Okay, sorry, got distracted. So here's the deal. You gotta glue these together. Now, let's see. So I gotta figure out how I'm gonna glue this. I don't want to make a mess of the outside. Let's see, let's try it this way. And then I'll just run a bead right here. Like that. It actually fits together really well, so shouldn't be too big of a deal. I think that's good right there. I'll let that dry a little bit. But one thing to note on US jerry cans, and this is, you know, if I wanted to get all crazy and outside the box to do this, I would really sand, well, I'm going to sand this really smooth here, this seam on this side. I would actually create a very faint weld line, because the main body of the jerry can was like a long strip, and it was folded around to create the cross section this way of the jerry can, and then welded. But I'm not going to do that on this one because I'm trying to make it, you know, keep it as much out of the box as possible, and I don't want to do all that. So I'm just going to sand it all smooth all the way around. But then if you were to do that, you would want the seam to be here, but where this seam is right here, you'd want that to be all smooth above, because that is a pressed or stamped piece. It's shaped around a form. So that's just a little something to think about if you ever wanted to kind of super detail a jerry can. And then obviously this piece down here wouldn't have a seam on it, so we need to scrape that off. This here is where the sprue attachment point was. So I'm going to sand that smooth and then scrape it. Like that. And then scrape this down here smooth. Again, I'm going to have to sand it because that's where the sprue, where it was attached to the sprue. Like that, and then I want to smooth that seam right there. It's probably not as important here, but I'm going to go ahead and do it because this is going to be covered up by the handle. Make sure that's cleaned out. Okay, so that's ready. Now I've already cleaned the cap. So put that in place. A little bit of cement. Make sure it's in place good, nice and flat. Then put this in place here, the handle. Like that. And then put just a little bit of cement on each one of those. Give it a second to soften up. And then use my tweezers and not my fingers to press it into place. And if you do that, it'll eliminate any seams, because that cement will really blend that seam together. And then the last part is this here, and it will only fit one way. There's a this piece here, protrusion, and a slot, and they're offset, so it's only going to fit one direction. So I'm going to put it like that, and I'm going to actually cement it from the bottom. Squeeze it in place like that. And then attach it to the side, and it goes way up here, right there, like that. So let's put, again, got these nice simulated bracket going on here. Put that in place like that and let that dry. All right, next is step 21, which is more exterior details, and there's a lot of them. So let's start with this portion up here. I got to do the other jerry can. I got to cut off the axe. I got to do the handles, the releases for the engine cover. So I'm going to cut those off real quick like, and get those cleaned up. So we've got the releases right here. There and there. And then the other door handle. There. Okay, let's see. All right, so that's that. And then we need the other jerry can parts, which are here, 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 and here. You've seen me do those, so I'm not going to do them again. I'll kind of slide those, all those parts that I've already done, I'll just kind of slide over the side there. And the axe. And really, the axe is going to fit just like the shovel and the pick. So, I don't know if I really need to show you that, but let me get them all cleaned up and we'll take a look. Let's see. All right, so everything's all cleaned up and ready to go. So I'm going to start with the small parts again. Let's see. Let's start with the engine cover latch. Right there. Whoa. Like, whoops, like that. Put an extra little dab on the bottom, like on the other side. The other one. A lot of this is repetitive, but sometimes it's okay. I just don't like to drag the cleaning stuff out too much because that can get boring real quick. And then let's see. Let's go ahead and do the fuel can. I'm just kind of going in order from front to back. I got everything prepped from the get-go, and then there we go. Okay, that looks good. Put a little bit more cement right there. All right, and then I'll do the axe, which goes here. There we go. So I'll start with this small bracket there. Make sure it's pressed in, and then that part there, like that. And then, lastly but not leastly, the door handle, so the blokes can get in and out. And make sure it's facing the right direction. Alright, so there's that. So that takes care of the front part. So now I got to get all this stuff ready. So we've got two A38s, two A39s, C1, C2. So I'm going to cut all those parts off. Alright, so the A38s go on the outside edge, and the A39s go here. So what I need to do is I need to ascertain if this needs to be glued on first, and it doesn't look like it does. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these on and just make sure they're all level. Now they're kind of got some weird angle business going on because of the molding process, and I could probably square those up, but I don't really think it's necessary. So we'll put a little bit of cement on each one. Like that, and they stick out far enough that if I have to twist them just a little bit, I can, to make it line up with the plate that goes on top. I just want to make sure that they are fitting pretty good like that. So let's take this and see how it fits. Now there's some straps here that kind of protrude on the front, on this edge. That's the edge that needs to go out. So let's see how it lines up. Yep, lines up great. No problems. No problems. So I'm going to start at one end. Whoops. Whoops. Start at one end like this. Kind of hold it in place. And cement there. 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 And there. So let's push that down, make sure it's firmly in place. Make sure I don't break anything here. Okay, then I'm also going to, just for, put some along the back edge as well, just so I get a nice firm bond. I like a nice firm bond, whether it needs it or not, just because I don't want anything messing up. Okay, so then this bumper needs to go here, and it's only going to go one way because there's like these little keyways here that match up right there. So that's going to fit right there like that. So put that in place, and then apply the cement there. 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 Hey, kid. Talking to my granddaughter. Push that down right there like that. And then pause. pause to play with my granddaughter. Alright, the next part I need to do are the two machine gun tripods. So I need D5, 6, 28, and 26. So let's get those first. Let's see here. So we need 5 and 6, and there's actually 2 part 6s. Then we need 26 and 28. There's 26. And 28. Whoops. I have to cut that part off. Alright, so I'm going to do those and it looks like they're both pretty much the same thing. So I will assemble one, a larger one, on camera here, and then the other one I will do off camera. Okay, and the way to tell the difference is if you cut them all off at the same time, don't pay attention. This one is a total oval. This is kind of a oval with a flat side on it. So let's get these cleaned up. Okay, so first we need to do the 2 D6s. So the way it fits is there's a flat end and then it's kind of curved to fit this like that. So, whoa, man, that almost fell off the edge of the desk. That would have been a bummer. So what we need to do, I think, is put a little dab of cement in there. Whoa, it's stuck. Like that. Then take that. Like that. Sweet. Wow. Actually went together not too difficultly. I don't know if that's a word, but so let's do the same thing again. Oh, that time it didn't stick. So we'll pick it up like that. Push it into place. Splendid. So then, so that is that. Set that down. And then this one here, kind of the same deal, except this one's completely oval. Cement in there like that. Chamfered edge, the angled edge fits in there like that. Make sure it fits nice and snug. And then this little, oh man, you may not be able to see it. There's a little pin there that goes in that hole there. And this little part slots into that. So like that. So let's hold it carefully. Get a little wee bit of cement going on here. And voila. So we'll set that aside. I'll build up the other one and then we'll install them. All right, so let's see. So we got to glue this one on. And this one, has a pin there and a pin there that goes there and there. If I can get it to get in position, there we go, like that. So hold that in place. Now this is another one of those areas where there's detail missing, because technically there should be like a strap or something like that to hold these in place. Well, again, I'm building this right out of the box, so I'm not gonna be messing with that. I'm gonna break one of those off yet. So, you know, now let's see. So this just goes on here. There's no specific place for it, but it does show that like those two pins seem to line up on that strap that's coming out on that little shelf-like thing. So that's where I'm putting it. So hopefully I can get some cement on there without making a mess. And do some more down here. Like that. Let's do some here. Okay. Yeah, that did it. All right, and then the last two pieces that need to be glued on this step are these two grab handles, A40. Okay, they fit there. So what I'm gonna do is carefully hold that with one hand, take some cement, try and put it in there without touching my finger. Like that. And take some more. Put it around like that. Make sure it's pressed in there nice and snug. And voila. So we'll do the same thing on this side. Cement, cement. There we go. There was enough there to hold it in place. And there we go. So that is that. So that concludes step 21. And that looks like a good place to stop, because step 22 starts with the interior of the crew compartment. So that's going to be the end of part 4, which was steps 18 through 21, the exterior of the body. So next time we come back, we'll start with 22, and we should be able to complete the primary building of the kit. So, as always, thanks for joining me here on Plastic Models by a Regular Dude with the Tamiya 1/35 scale M3A1 Scout Car Plastic Models for Beginners series. And we'll see you next time for part 5. So as always, if you have anything to say, put it in the comments section down below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. So until next time, I will see you all later.